prices and tough comments on Iran. Senator Hillary Clinton speaking one-on-one with our John Roberts before tomorrow's critical primaries.
I want to talk to you about the gas tax and come at it from the perspective of it's one thing to propose these things as a candidate when you really don't have to follow through on them. So I want to ask you this question this morning. If you become president and if gasoline prices are still high this time next year, do you promise now that you will give us a gas tax holiday next year?
I'm sure going to try, John, because the way that I have proposed it is different from either of my opponents. You know, Senator Obama doesn't want to give consumers a break. I do. I want the oil companies to pay the gas tax this summer out of their record profits. Senator McCain wants to lift the gas tax but doesn't want to pay for it. So I think I have the responsible position to give people immediate relief right now. And here's why, John. We need to do two things simultaneously. We need to help people who live today trying to pay these incredibly high gas prices. There's been no preparation. There's been no real help for them to try to make a transition. I think we can do both a short-term relief program and begin to implement my longer-term program, which would give people tax credits to buy more gas-efficient cars that would move us toward these higher gas mileage cars and would help to pay for it by taking the subsidies away from the oil companies. So there's really a comprehensive approach that I have proposed.
Now you're certainly getting lots of opposition to this, particularly from the Obama campaign. Senator Obama earlier this morning was critical of it. Let's listen to what former Labor Secretary under the Clinton administration, Robert Reich, had to say about this.
It's stupid and it's dumb, and I don't know why Hillary Clinton kind of proposed it.
Harsh words for you there. Stupid and dumb, and doesn't know why you proposed it. What do you say about that? I mean, he was an official in your husband's administration.
Well, maybe I can educate him a little bit. We want the oil companies to pay the gas tax out of their record profits. I think it's important that people in public life, elected positions like mine, begin to stand up for the hardworking American consumer and the middle class. That's what I believe. I think that if you look at all of the issues that I've taken on, that is what I'm running for. You know, I'm for helping people stay in their homes, not being foreclosed on. I've been advocating this for months. My opponent opposes my moratorium on home foreclosures. I'm for getting health care for everyone at an affordable cost. My opponent wants to leave 15 million people out. I'm for trying to get the gas tax holiday for this summer because at least where I travel, and maybe I talk to different people, I talk to people who are telling me they're literally sick at their stomach when they pull into the gas station.
Yeah, I mean, it sure hurts.
Trying to pay these gas bills, trying to go and then go to the grocery store where the price of fuel goes right into the cost of groceries. I guess I'm just feeling more of the concerns that people have, and they want relief, and they want us to quit taking care of Wall Street like we did when we bailed out Bear Stearns and start taking care of Main Street.
You also say if you were president, you would launch an immediate investigation of the Justice Department and the FTC on price manipulation by the oil companies. Every time, almost every time, the price of gas goes up, Democrats come out and they say, we've got to investigate this, there's collusion, there's price manipulation. The investigation takes place, and nothing has ever been found. Why would you expect to find something this time around?
Well, but John, what I have said is that it's the energy traders who are manipulating the market. The people who are not in the oil business as a full-time job, but sit behind a computer somewhere and buy and sell and hoard supplies of oil. In fact, an official of ExxonMobil testified under oath in April before a House committee that it is not market fundamentals that is driving the price up, that, in fact, if it were just supply and demand, the price of oil would be about $50, $55 a barrel instead of $120.
Right. It's a commodity. It's a commodity that is worth whatever people want to pay for.
But let me just finish, because this is important. No, this is important for people to understand. The energy traders brought us higher electricity prices during the Enron scandal so that people along the West Coast were paying not what the market required, but what they were manipulated into having to pay. At the end of 2000, a huge bill was passed with thousands of pages in it, and buried in it in the dead of night was what became known as the Enron loophole, lifting regulation off of energy traders. I want to re-regulate energy traders. The best way to do that is to launch this investigation to demonstrate what people even in the oil company are saying, that the price is being manipulated. People are paying more than they should have to.
I want to move on to Iran, if I could. And Senator Obama earlier this morning was highly critical of your statement that we would be able to obliterate Iran if it attacked Israel. Did you go too far when you said that?
No, I didn't, because I think it's very important that, number one, we try to prevent Iran from getting nuclear weapons. I've been saying that for some time. Number two, that we have a diplomatic process with Iran, something that I think I was the first person, certainly in any of the campaigns, to come out for several years ago. But number three, we need to make it very clear, like we did during the Cold War, where thousands of missiles were pointed at us and we pointed it at the Soviet Union, that there is a price to be paid. And when we look at Iran, we don't really know who's making a lot of these decisions. There's a parallel government, as you know, the elected leadership of Ahmadinejad, the clerical leadership up to the supreme leader. And so when the question was asked, what would the United States do were Iran to launch a nuclear attack on Israel, I said very clearly there would be massive retaliation. I'm communicating
so just
with
to be
both
clear
the
here,
leaders of Iran and the people of Iran.
So just to be clear here, if Iran were to use nuclear weapons against Israel in a Clinton presidency, that attack would be met with a nuclear response against Iran?
It would be massive retaliation, John.
And does
massive
retaliation. Does that mean nuclear response?
Well, I think it speaks for itself. You know, there's a great deal of concern that the Iranian government might be taken over, if it were to have nuclear weapons, by people who had no institutional sense of what would happen to their country. And I worry about the proliferation of nuclear weapons and, frankly, them falling into the hands of those who might prefer to be martyrs instead of be responsible leaders. And I think we have to start clearly and unequivocally saying to the Iranian people, there would be a very, very high price to pay.
Another issue regarding Iran. The United States claims that Iran is supplying weapons and training fighters for Shiite militias to be using against American forces in Iraq. In fact, they're now saying that these Iraqi fighters are coming over. They're being trained by Hezbollah at a camp outside of Tehran, then being shipped back. If indeed it is true that Iran is facilitating the killing of U.S. forces, as president, what would you do about it?
Well, this has been going on for some time. They've been training forces for militias. They've been providing the means to make these horrible explosive devices that have killed and maimed so many of our
would you attack
soldiers.
Iran? Is that a reason to go to war against Iran, or at least some sort of attack against them? The killing of U.S. forces?
Well, I think you have to do everything possible within Iraq to try to prevent that from occurring. Nobody wants to go to war with Iran. That is not something that anybody in their right minds is advocating. I've been on record for some time saying that this government, namely our president and vice president, need to be reined in, and I've even introduced legislation making it clear that there is no basis for such an action. But we also have to protect not only our own forces, but our Iraqi allies. And we've got to get tougher on what they do inside of Iraq.
One more question, if I could. Tomorrow, the primaries, Indiana and North Carolina, how critical are they for you? And should you win both contests, would you make a case to say, now it's time to declare me the nominee?
Well, this is going to be exciting tomorrow because I started very far behind. The Obama campaign has predicted consistently that he would win both Indiana and North Carolina by significant margins. I think we've closed the gap, but we're working hard. We want to get everybody we can to come out and vote tomorrow. Obviously, I hope to do as well as possible. More people have voted for me in all of these contests during the course of these
if you include
elections.
Michigan and Florida.
That's right. Those were real votes, certified
but not
as
decided
legal
yet.
and official. Well, the delegates haven't been decided. The people voted. That's a fact. And more people have voted for me. We just have to figure out how those votes translate into delegates.
But just one more time, if I could. If you won both contests tomorrow, would you make the case to superdelegates, it's time to put your cards down on the table now, I'm the nominee?
Well, I've been making the case that I would be the better president and the stronger nominee against John McCain. I happen to believe both of those are true, but this is a process. We have to follow the rules. We're going to go until it's clear who the nominee will be.